AI implementation is different from any other technology. It requires more foundational and organizational changes if companies want to successfully derive value from it. During our conversation with Ankur Aggarwal, Managing Director and Lead, Growth and Strategic Client Relationships for Accenture in India, we also covered why companies must change their people, processes, and technology to support large-scale GenAI integration. We also talked about how organizations can ensure AI is used in an ethical and trusted manner.
You spoke about reinvention, how talent need to be reinvented and how business models also need to be reinvented. So what is the best way for companies to approach this reinvention?
Organizations will need to take a step back and look at all aspects of their business processes. Will need to be looked at from a fundamental lens of how do you leverage AI, and hence the processes will need to be reimagined at the core level, because you're not just looking at just efficiencies while reinventing. You are looking at complete reinvention to drive and unlock what has never been imagined in the past. And hence, while fundamentals of technology and data and people will come to fore, but this reimagining and reinventing will need to unlock newer boundaries of innovation and growth.
There are two challenges here, right? One is the people mix changing, in the sense that are you now looking at slightly higher talent, slightly different kind of a talent as compared to what you had earlier? That's one. Second, consequent to that, will it have an impact on the cost lines of the enterprises? In the sense, is the cost likely to go up? Because we keep hearing that AI talent is scarce and it is expensive. So how do you see that happening, that playing out?
I think good question. The entire aspect about talent, as I said, needs to be looked at. You need to take a step back and look at talent. You need to look at the entire talent strategy and the organization's operating model. There are three things. First one, there needs to be GenAI. It's not that you have to suddenly change all your talent. You need to have a more broad-based reskilling or upskilling in GenAI across the enterprise. Second point is one needs to look at establishing a GenAI or an AI COE where there is more dynamic workforce. There is the upskilled workforce where humans are there when AI is operating, and then there is a human in the loop, and you've not just left AI on its own. So those are the people who need to be skilled in a particular manner to be able to leverage and keep a so-called check on the AI and have that trust element. Then there has to be that element of collaboration between how AI agents and people will work. Third aspect is about this entire element of trust. People in the organization, the humans in the organizations need to have that element of trust in using AI. As per our research, 78% of the executives believe that trust in humans will be very important for the adoption of GenAI as they use the core utility agents, which will be just doing the mundane processes, or they will be using those super agents which will be doing those cross-functional workflows, or the orchestration agents who will be navigating the broader processes. But human will always be there in the loop, and hence it is important that the organizations, as they're developing their AI strategies and roadmaps, they continue communicating and sharing those strategies with all the employees in the organization.
So what are some of the foundations required, like in terms of data and technical readiness for scaling GenAI?
From a technology perspective, there are a couple of things that one needs to look at. One I had referred to a little earlier around building a fairly strong digital core which is AI enabled and secure. That remains the foundation. Beyond that, the other aspects will need to be an adaptive AI stack which is enabled and supported by an agentic architecture. Now, this stack will adapt as there are changes that happen in the organization at large, as technology changes, as data changes. So the stacks continue to evolve. AI will be a broader orchestration layer which will navigate these changes, and as the orchestration will be happening for systems which are beyond just instruction led and are becoming more intent led. So that's one aspect of technology. Another aspect is organizations will need to continue to invest in proprietary data to have a significant competitive advantage over their industry peers, and if they need to be right there upfront in their reinvention journeys. Third aspect is about having a more flexible and scalable architecture. Now, this stems from the agentic architecture that will be there. Such an architecture will enable very flexible use of multiple large language models. It's not that one size fits all. So as the needs of business would change or different aspects of the business are there, different large language models can be used, and that will be enabled by a flexible architecture. I think in the reinvention journeys that organizations in India are seeing, and as they are adopting AI, we are seeing about 40% of the organizations today are working towards having a more flexible, scalable tech architecture. We are also seeing that the organizations which have a comprehensive data strategy are able to get to about 2.9 times of the return on investment that they had envisaged, or they are 2.9 times more likely to get to the return on investment as compared to other organizations that would not have envisaged a proper data strategy. I think another aspect is a broad-based data platform, a foundation within the organization, which will also need to be re-enabled to have the aspects of vectorization, to have aspects or abilities to integrate with LLM APIs. That would really set the foundation right. And last but not the least, collaboration with ecosystem partners, whether these are the smaller startups which are really driving a lot of innovation, or the large players which are investing significantly in technology, or organizations will need to tap into all aspects of these ecosystems to be able to get the best value for them as they go ahead with these journeys.
How can Indian organizations ensure ethical and fair use of AI, and which is also compliant with the laws?
I think there's a lot of talk about trust in the use of AI. Trust and responsible AI stems from the aspects of taking intentional actions as you adopt, deploy, and scale AI within the organization. I had talked about this entire aspect of trust, which AI will need to have in the humans who are using them. There will need to be a few design principles that we firmly, for example, believe in. One is it will need to be responsible by design. What does that mean? It means that you have to start the entire aspect of responsibility from the beginning. You need to design AI systems in a manner that they are responsible, they can be trusted. We are also seeing that, again, this entire aspect of organizations which are leading by value and which are driving reinvention within the organizations and for industry at large. The ones which are using or having these responsible AI principles will 2.9 times more likely be able to reach their ROI targets which they are setting for themselves, or even overachieve them. Another principle will need to be platform led. You can't just do responsible AI without having a platform which will enable that. Another aspect will need to be, one would not just talk about responsible AI, one would track responsible AI and have metrics and KPI behind the responsible AI that one would adopt. There will, again, ecosystem will play an important role within this entire aspect, and engaging and closely collaborating with the ecosystem would again be quite important. Our research has showed that about 42% of the organizations in India are looking at responsible AI and defining responsible AI principles within their enterprises, or beginning to look at it from that aspect, and also looking at risk mitigation and control mechanisms towards that. Another aspect that we look at is responsible AI needs to be human-centered. Impact on human beings need to be really looked at with every AI action that one is looking at or adopting or deploying. AI will need to be fair, and it will need to be free of bias. And as AI is fair, it will need to be evolving from not just being fully autonomous, but as I talked about, human in the loop, so that there is this entire element of accuracy and limitation of bias that AI does bring about naturally. I think all of this can be strongly enabled by having a robust governance council within the organizations. These governance councils will need to be cross-functional, and as different aspects or leaders from the organization will come in, one would need to look at which processes can be AI-led, what kind of data is being used, and what are the various elements of compliance that needs to be looked at and addressed from an AI perspective as people look at adopting AI at scale.
As we conclude this conversation, what we learn is that Gen AI won't solve all problems overnight. Organizations need to relook and reimagine processes from a Gen AI perspective. They also need a flexible and scalable architecture to enable use of multiple LLMs while having a comprehensive data strategy. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Stay tuned as CXO Today brings more industry insights and expert analysis. Thank you.